Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall, where we throw ideas, see what sticks, and nurture those that do. I'm your host, Armando Leduc, an actor, entrepreneur, and coach, giving you insights that light up your world. We're here to explore the realms of business, marketing, and life, serving up a shot of inspiration with every episode. Ready to make ideas stick and grow them into something great? Let's dive in. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on when you are consuming this podcast. Guillaume Jouvencel. I mean, how fun is that to say? How fun is that to say? Guillaume Jouvencel. It reminds me of that scene in The Matrix where chosen any language, but I chose French. You know, just because of how just amazing and sexy
French is. I don't remember that scene. I hope it involves Neo and not like, you know, some second or third tier characters in the Matrix. But I appreciate the reference.
Yeah, well, you saw it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it was an amazing guy. So we got introduced from Kevin Daisy,
Yes.
my boy. And he was like, you gotta meet Guillaume because he does what you do. And I was like, hallelujah, more people that do what we do. Because we're totally in the abundance mindset, and you know, we're definitely in the collaboration and not in the competition, right? Because you get it, you obviously get it. So I'm gonna just do a quick little intro. Guillaume is the founder of GHA Podcast. It's a strategic podcasting consultancy where he helps companies, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders launch high converting B2B podcasts. With a master's in business and marketing, he brings a rare blend of analytical thinking and creative execution. Guillaume's mission to help clients build a brand, create demand, and drive leads through podcasting. So thank you for being here, man.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Give me the epiphany moment for you when you were all like, this is the future. This is where it's at. This works. How did that come about for you?
Yeah. So quite naturally, I was a consultant at PwC back then, Belgium. I think I can say it. I hope I can say it, especially since this is live. Starting into the corporate treasury world. Long story short, it's a niche in finance that very little people know about, but it's like big corporations have treasury departments that helps them manage cash and like manage financial risk management. Basically, that's what I was doing. And I loved it. And I was like, I want to learn more about this stuff whilst on my free time, like not only when I work. But then I wanted to be fun, entertaining, and I couldn't find anything. So I was like, hey, we should start a podcast educating people about treasury. My team back then was like, let's focus on doing your, analyst job. I was like, fair. I'm just going to do it myself on my free time, together with my buddy Hussam, my best friend at the time and still now, and my co-founder. So we start recording podcasts. First 3 episodes, we record with the wrong mic. It's like the worst show ever. Then we start interviewing people on the show. And I think 1 year down the road, completely not deliberate, we have somebody from the audience reaching out and saying, hey, I like what you guys do, and I need help with XYZ, like project related. Can you guys help? As in, can PwC help? And I was like, well, I don't know. Let me put you in touch with my director and see what happens. The value of the contract was something around the 200,000 mark. We couldn't move forward because they were audited clients anyways, the independence thing of Big Fours. I was like, okay, did I just bring a 6 figures lead to a Big Four firm with a podcast as my second year in PwC and as an analyst? Exactly. Second project comes in, $60,000, same thing, another issue with independence. Another project comes in and I was like, okay, so there is something happening here. What do we do, right? And with Usam, we wanted to launch our thing ourselves, like our own business. And we're like, if we can bring leads of that quality to a company like a Big Four, maybe we can do it for ourselves and for other people. This is where we were like, podcasts, and it wasn't even deliberate at first, right? Can do that. Let's make it our full-time thing. That's what we did. And now we're helping B2B businesses do exactly that. That was the epiphany.
Thank you for being on the show. Appreciate you. That's it. That's the mic drop right there. If people just really understood that they don't have to be Joe Rogan, they're not going to be Joe Rogan. Nobody's going to listen to your podcast, right? Like when you first start, that is not the point. But that's the thing. There's so much head trash with people that they don't want to get over it. So how are you talking to them at the very beginning when they all have a perspective of this is what a podcast is, and you're like, no, this is what a podcast is, right? How are you getting them from here to there?
So I love this question, and so thanks a lot for it. I think, as you said, right, people have a concept for those who have like an idea of what podcast is, because some people are like, podcast, what the heck? They're like, oh yeah, Joe Rogan, or Chris Williamson, or like the CEO, like the big time podcast, entertaining, true crime, right? Big time in podcast. And it's like, yes, there is this for sure, but that's not what you want to do, especially in B2B. Like, think about a channel, a medium, a tool where you could talk one-on-one, like we're doing right now, right, Armando? One-on-one for 1 hour each and every week with your ideal clients. Like, what other medium allows you to do that? And it's like, at first I said, like, at first, unless we do some ad budget and a certain strategy, you're not going to get any downloads. And tell you what, you do not care. What you care about are the 52 conversations you're going to have with 52 decision makers within your space, and targeting a very narrow niche of a few dozens, few hundreds people, exactly like your ideal guest, who are going to be like, who the hell is this guy talking to people like me, who think like me, who do the same thing as me, who smell like me, and giving us genuinely good advice. That's what B2B podcast is about. And that's something that I think too many people are not aware of yet, which is exactly why we're here, Armando, talking about this.
Smashing it. Look, if you're a videographer out there and you have a production company and you're all like, I'm struggling, I can't get my production company to make money because we don't have enough MRR. You're doing one commercial, you're doing one wedding. Guys, start a podcast business where you're doing it for them, and you will grow so fast, it'll make your head spin. Like, it is that easy. And this conversation right here, right? Who knows what this relationship is going to turn into? And It was all because the first, I'll show you how you got here, right? Because it was 3. Louis Scott, right? Who was my first podcast guest, who started an 8-figure firm.
Okay.
We ended up creating an amazing relationship, right? We did go to high school together, but we reconnected on my podcast. Then he hired us to do all kinds of work for them. Then we started going to his mastermind. He started mentoring me. I met Kevin Daisy at the 8-figure firm mastermind. We connected at the 8-figure firm mastermind, but it wasn't until I brought him on my podcast that we really connected. Now we're doing all kinds of joint ventures together. And then he put me in touch with you, and now you're here. And who knows what this relationship is going to turn into, right? And I preach this all day, every day, because sure, let's bring in 52 people. Here's what we've been doing to like sort of streamline this process and make it a lot easier. Because we used to edit the podcast and we used to like curate it. Now we just do it live, just like we're doing here. And then we just go. And then that's it. And we put it up. So now we're doing about 40 podcasts a month. Right?
Jeez.
Just fucking. And here's how you can really scale this idea. Your sales, if you have a sales team, all of your sales team needs to be on the podcast, right? So I have Spaghetti on the Wall. That's for me. But I have a whole nother podcast called Partnership for Profit. And that's where I drive everybody. And I have all of my salespeople create relationships and build rapport on Partnership for Profit. And we have 100% success rate from podcast to sales call. 100% success rate from podcast to sales call. And people are like, no way. And I'm like, I can show you the numbers, right? Now, we're not converting everybody, obviously, because
of course.
But the conversion rate is high. So I like to say you're preaching to the preacher right now, which is why I love that you're doing this, man. And I'm like definitely going to stay in touch with you. So talk to me about some of the people that you've helped and what the transformation and story has been like for them.
I'm going to do this. I just want to double down on one of the things you mentioned, Armando, because I think this is gold. Podcast is going to be about networking as well. Like some of the people you're going to have on the show are not going to become clients, and that's all right, right? The intention needs to remain genuinely creating amazing content in your space, helping out people. But they can become referrals partner or people you do stuff with. And that's the gold in it, in my opinion. It's like, yeah, you're not going to convert 100% of your guests into clients, but you create a network. I'm going to travel to the US in a couple of months, and I'm going to meet a couple of people who I've interviewed on the show recently who are like, we need to meet in person. And who knows where that's going to lead. Like networking, talking to like-minded people, talking to people in your industry is gold. Your question was, tell me about results that you get from podcasts, right? Was it the question?
Yeah, tell me a story of somebody that you guys have helped.
Yeah, cool. So, and I like the expression, you preach to the preacher. One thing that I tell my potential clients is, I wouldn't help anybody on something we haven't done successfully for ourselves. So I think the best case study that we can talk about is, so there is Corporate Treasury 101, right? The first podcast that gave me the epiphany. But then we're like, what happens when we are deliberate about this thing? So Podcast Gurus is exactly this. I interview podcasters with the business behind it to tell their story, right, about podcasts. Because now you go onto ChatGPT, you ask how to start a podcast, it's easy. But inspiring people with stories of podcasters is, I think, what we can do as humans to, strengthen and make the industry even better. Yeah. But my intention is also like, hey, you've come on the show. Thank you. Here is an audit of your podcast. If you like it, let me know. We can see how we can help you implement all of those recommendations. My podcast, so we started it 2 years ago, multiple six figures thanks to it. I interview my ideal clients. Last year, I interviewed 52 people, converted 6 into clients. My third and fourth guest.
Wait. Back it up. What were the numbers again?
So 52 interviews, 6 clients, a bit more than 10%. My third and fourth guests became clients. So even before we published the episode, right? Interview, and you continue a conversation like, hey, by the way, like, how are you currently doing XYZ? What's your biggest challenge? Oh, interesting. Mind having a chat about this? Our fourth guest is, to date, our biggest client and still with us. Fourth guest. He became a client before we published the episode. And I think that's something that will be of interest to the audience, I think, as well, Armando, is the best way to get started is you interview a couple of people who fit your ideal guest, so your ideal clients, who you already know, existing clients, people who are friends of yours, people who know you, because they will be more likely to come on the podcast that hasn't been published yet. But at the end of this, you ask this, hey, this was awesome. Thank you so much. Who else do you know would be a great guest for the show? I'm looking for this type of people and this type of people. A third and fourth guest were recommended by the first one. And they were like, hey, I've been on Guillaume's show. It's amazing. Had lots of fun. You should check it out and, come as a guest if you'd like. Referral, comes on the show, interested because we have a nice chat, becomes a client. And I use this as the example of like, this is why we do it. And this is why we are now doing it for like dozens and dozens of companies, because we've done it ourselves. We know exactly each step of the way to make it work. And this is how we get our clients with the podcast.
Rock and roll. So are you guys doing it for them, or is it consulting? How are you guys working?
So yeah, that's a good one. We've tried multiple things. And after 2 years and a half in business, what we found out is the best way to get people to be happy and recommend us more clients and to help us grow is by taking care of everything. We've tried just consulting. We've tried just editing, more like the commodity approach, but we found out that we get the best results and therefore the best stickiness with people who are like, hey, look, I just want to record, do everything else. Come up with the podcast concept, research what topics are trendy, who I should interview on the show, launch the podcast for me, find the guests, schedule the episodes, the interviews with them. And as soon as I'm done recording, take care of everything. That's where we've seen we get the best results. So now that's the only thing that we do. Because consulting is one way, but we didn't get the best results with that. So back to we only do things that we have had success for ourselves and for other people. We haven't nailed it yet. Maybe there is a business model there, but that's what we typically do. How about you, Armando? Do you do consulting and potentially helping on everything as well, or how do you position it?
So I have a mastermind that meets every Tuesday. I'll invite you to it, by the way. It's called Content and Technology, and we definitely talk about podcasting as the first approach. And we like to talk about it in a trifecta, right? So podcasting in order to build the brand, authority, credibility, trust, relationships, referral partnerships, and a lead magnet. That way you can go fast. Then we're talking about organic social media content. How do you take that, put it out on social media? And then the third part is client journey. And so we map out an entire client journey for you, because what we found is that it's like a fire hose. Once somebody starts a podcast and they do the strategy, they start to get overwhelmed with the amount of leads, right? And we're talking qualified leads. We're not talking about trash that people are like, oh, I'm going to put this ad and then I'm spending 80% of my time just sifting through garbage, right? I mean, how much time are we doing that on ads? Which is why we're like, well, why don't we just figure out what's the strategy? Who's the lead that we're trying to find? Which is why I say, if you niche it down, I'll tell you exactly who you need to have in order to grow your revenue really quickly. So for us, we ended up growing 1,287% in 90 days. As soon as we decided we're going to work in legal specifically, right?
Okay.
Like as soon as we did that, because we were doing haunted history tours, Audi of New Orleans, PI firms, family lawyers. And we were like, well, what's the common denominator here? Who do we really like to work with? And we're like, we could have chosen the car dealership space. We could have chosen the touring company spaces or restaurants. But we were like, you know what? Lawyers. All day, every day. Lawyers. All day, every day. Lawyers. Right? As soon as we did that, what did we do? We went to all of the top conferences for attorneys, and we invited all of the top conference organizers to our podcast. So Ken Hardison from PILMA, Personal Injury Legal Marketing Association.
This is smart.
Bob Simon with Lottie Graw, Chris Dreyer from PIMCon. We're working with Glenn Ledwell from Flight Club, like all these different, the top, right? The top people. And then we went to Facebook groups and we invited the Facebook admins to the podcast. Why? Because they're going to post your show on their channel, right? And so I'm telling you guys, if you want to grow fast, you niche it down and then you go after the people that are at the top and you create relationships with them. And then the referral are just, it's an open fire hose. So the reason why we go with the client journey mapping is what we found is, and when we had this problem too, is that we grew too fast, right? And if you don't have your operations in place and you're not ready to scale, you will crash and burn. Like you will crash and burn. So I'm always like, great, let's get revenue in, right? Because we got to get your monthly recurring revenue up in order for you to have predictability in your company so that you can have scalability, right? Because you can't scale if you don't have predictable income coming in. So we're like, let's do that. Once we have that coming in and you're at 30, 50K a month in MRR, let's client journey and map the thing, right? So that you can create a system so that you can hire properly so that people understand where they are in the system, right? So that's our sort of trifecta of content, which we're like, okay, podcasting is first, organic social is second, client journey mapping is third.
Amen to this. A quick question for you, Armando, actually. So I love the niching down, especially in podcasts. When you help people launch podcasts in one specific niche, so one of our big niches is HVAC. Like, God knows why HVAC is big. But we also we had the question, right, from our clients and potential clients, which was like, hey, but if you already made a HVAC podcast ranked top 5 in the marketing category in the US, which we did, you can only have so many HVAC podcasts ranking in the top 5 of the marketing category in the US. So if you say to, 20 different attorneys or 20 different, attorney firms, hey, I'm going to help you launch a podcast so that you can generate leads with your podcast, all in the same niche, how do you tackle this? I love what you mentioned at the beginning, the abundance mindset. Is this what it is about? Or you approach it a different way when it comes to this specifically?
I love you, man. Love this question because this is what happens. So we have a work injury firm that we work with in Fort Lauderdale, right? Called Work Injury Rights.
Okay.
And they were like, Armando, why are we doing this podcast? And I said, one, you're going to create content. But number two, who are your highest referral partners? PI attorneys. Why? PI don't want to, these PI attorneys do not want to deal with work injury. They'll do it, but they don't want to. So what's better? If they get the cases and then they can go, hey, work injury rights, you guys handle this work injury case, and then we're going to get 25, 30% off the top, right? Just as a referral, because in the legal industry, you cannot get paid on a case unless you're an attorney, right? Okay. So only attorneys can refer other attorneys' cases and get paid out off of the referrals, right?
Even from referrals. You can only get a referral fee if you're the attorney yourself.
Correct. If I send them a referral, they can't give me anything. So what are we doing here? What we're doing here is at the end of 2025, we, just like you said, we want to have 52 referral partners, 52 personal injury attorneys that know who we are and what we do and that we've created relationship with, so that they can just send us cases all day, every day. Estate planning attorneys, who are they going to invite? Financial advisors, CPAs, family law attorneys, right? All day, every day, because those are their natural referral partners, right? Family law attorneys, who are they going to invite? Psychologists, other, other estate planning attorneys, financial advisors, like all of those people, like play in that world. If we're doing roofing, who are we going to get on the podcast? We're going to get HVAC, electrical companies, real estate, mortgage, like everybody that's in the home services, right? And we're all day, every day. So that's what we've done, and we've seen. I mean, I have a client in San Diego who went from $1,500 a month to over $100K a month in MRR.
Sweet, pretty sweet.
And I'm like, dude, and they did everything right. I was mentoring one and I was mentoring the other in the same city, and I was like, you guys need to meet. And they got together. They started their own business. They started working in the legal space, and they're smashing it, right? So cool. That's what I'm saying. So I love when other people are taking this concept, because I'm like, it is the way. As a matter of fact, I just got back from the 7-Figure Agency Conference in Miami, and there was a guy there that wrote, They Ask You Answer. If you haven't read this book, incredible book. He had a pool company, and he created videos to answer all of the questions. He was talking about what marketing is going to look like in the next 5-10 years, right? As AI becomes more prevalent, human-made content is going to be preferred over AI. You're already seeing it in YouTube. YouTube is going to suppress AI content. So, what are we doing? What are we talking about here? We're talking about human connection. And in any sales conversation, and I'm sorry, I just bogarted the conversation because
I love it, man. This is gold. Just go.
But the last thing I'm going to say is rapport. I've been through I don't know how many sales trainings. I can't even tell you, from Cutco to Sandler to whatever. I've sold it all, door to door, the whole nine.
Okay.
The number one thing that every single sales training tells you is you got to build rapport. You got to build rapport. And the first thing, and so I'm going, Guillaume, where are you from? France. Oh, great. That's awesome. Now let me tell you about my services. That's how much we're spending on rapport.
Smooth.
That's it, right? Like that's how much time we're spending. But if I can give them 45 minutes, right? 30 to 45 minutes and go, hey, love what you're doing. You're a rock star. Why are you the man or woman in this industry? And I'm giving you the platform, and we can connect. Then selling is going to be easy. Selling is going to be easy all day, every day. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
I'll pay for this. Love this, Amado.
Yeah, man, I love it too. I love the fact that you guys are doing this for people. Do you guys have a niche, or are you guys working with a bunch of different companies?
Yeah, so this has been, and I think that's part of any entrepreneur's journey, right? When we started, we really thought we were going to be like a podcast production agency. Like, hey, you have a podcast, just let us edit it for you. And it works, but especially nowadays with AI, right? Today, you can just go in Descript, record with Riverside, go to Opus and get some clips, go through Sonics, then ChatGPT, then I don't know, Cloud, and you just get an article. Like the value of the commodity is only going to go down. So the first change that we did is we're like, okay, we're going to approach things more in like a lead gen approach, which was the first narrowing it down. And then we started getting clients. Some of them were getting huge successes. We're like, what are the common denominators? Exactly like you did. HVAC is a big space. Finance for us is a big space, maybe because we come from it. We understand the world very, very well, just because we started with corporate treasury 101. So maybe that helped here. And that's pretty much it. I would say HVAC, finance. We're starting to help some lawyers, but not that many. So surprisingly, we're starting getting very good results in two additional niches. The first one is property development, like real estate. We get some very good results there. And the second one is the dating world. Like we've onboarded over the last, I'd say, 4 weeks, 3 dating / relationship advice companies. Because it makes lots of sense as well, like to give recommendations, to explain. This is something very touchy, intimate. You're not gonna always want to watch a whole video on YouTube, nor read a whole article, but you go to work, you have nobody around you, you listen to it on the podcast format. This seems to be working very well. So we're not as niche down as you, I figure, with the law agencies and the law firms, but that's what we are playing with. HVAC, finance, dating, and real estate / property developments are the niches that we're getting very, very good results for.
That's awesome, man. And how do people find you?
So the podcast, that's number one, obviously. And that's the funny thing. And maybe I think we can spend a bit of time on it because you mentioned it as well. The goal about podcasts is that you're going to be recording a 1-hour session, a bit like we're doing right now. This is going to go live, right? So this is live right now, but it's also going to go live on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and so on and so forth. But you can do so much content out of just one podcast episode that this is going to be a whole inbound content strategy, basically. You're going to extract clips, the most insightful ones with good hooks at the beginning. You're going to create an article that you can optimize for SEO, put on your website. The traction depends on the niche here because you really need to be specific about the SEO and the keywords that you're targeting. Plus, you need to have a bit of authority, but this can help. You can do a newsletter out of it as well, right? So whatever leads come through you, if you have their email address and their consent, you can send them updates about your podcast episodes and your podcast content. So I'd say this is the first acquisition channel. Like people find us thanks to the content that we publish, and I'm being active on LinkedIn as well. Second way is cold email. Like cold email does work, not with like, hey, do you want to buy my stuff? But like, hey, this works. Here is an example. Let me know if you'd like a personalized video on how we can do the same for you. And then there is a whole chain with the podcast content, obviously. And then people go to our website, ghapodcast.com. They see what we do. They're like, this might work for me. They book a call and we rock and roll.
Yeah, man. So we just started working with a couple of companies to try out cold email.
Okay.
Because they do cold email for sales. And I'm like, I don't need it for sales. I need it for inbox, right? So the conversion rate is going to be super high. But because we know who we're talking to and we know like, hey, we just want to talk to attorneys or we want to talk to legal vendors, it's going to be a lot easier for us to get to that person because one, we're established, it's easy to find, and who doesn't want to be on a podcast? It's what my friend Matthew calls ego bait, right? So I know, which I love. This is it. But yeah, but it's ego bait, right? Like people are like, oh, you want to interview me, and be like, yeah, I want to interview you, right? It's like, great. That's what an amazing. I don't mind that. And if you guys want the conversion rates to go up, right? Niching it down is the way, right? You can go from a 5 to 10% conversion rate to 30 to 45%. 30 to 45% if you're speaking to the same person over and over and over again, right? The reason why we can close PI attorneys and family law attorneys and estate planning attorneys is because I have case studies galore of all of those people. So what do they say? Oh, if you can help that PI attorney, then you can help me, right? If you can help that family law attorney, then you can help me. It's I feel like it's so simple, but it took us a while to get here, right? Like it wasn't a lot of this stuff was trial and error
Yeah.
And go, oh, wow, okay, well, this makes sense. Being messy and complicated is easy. It's dialing it in and chopping the fat and getting super clear and getting simple. That is hard. Like, and people are like, oh, they take for granted a simple process, right? But how many hours does it take to become simple so that you extract and purge all of the shit that doesn't work so that you stick with what does work? And that's why people are going to hire you, because they're like, oh, you're going to shortcut my success. You're going to shortcut my results because I can just go from here to there. You've already figured out all the pitfalls. I don't need to go through the trial and error. I'll just hire you, and then you get me there.
Oh, okay, so there is so much gold to dig further into here, Armando. So it's simple, not easy.
Right.
For the exact reason you just mentioned here. The methodology, I mean, you just listen to it right now. It's simple, but it's not easy to implement because there is actually a gazillion thing that needs to happen along the way and things that needs not to happen for it to be successful. And on your point about niching down, this is so gold, because especially nowadays, right? There is everybody claiming anything on the internet. That's what people can do nowadays. If you don't niche down, well, first of all, there is probably already a Joe Rogan who talks to everybody. There is already a podcast about, hey, great things about marketing and so on. So, and they're here for like 10 years. So if you don't start with like, hey, the only person I'm talking to is this, it's probably not going to work as well. There is this quote from Alex Hormozy, which is, I mean, I don't know if it's from him, but I heard it for the first time from him. It's like, you need back surgery. Who are you going to go and see? A surgeon who's practiced like 10,000 times on 10 different organs, or like 1,000 back surgery, 1,000 brain surgery. I'm just throwing some random examples here. Or are you going to pick the one surgeon who's done 10,000 back surgeries? And on top of that, would you not be willing to pay a premium for that? Of course you would. I interviewed John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneurs on Fire on my show. And I was like, dude, you've been one of the first in the space, right? And you've been very prolific. He publishes 1 episode per day. If you had to do it all over again today, you start from scratch, what would you do? And he was like, I would niche down so deep that I would potentially start with only 10 people of my ideal audience. And he said something which was like, I would go for fans of pickleball who are more than 70 years old, living in South Africa, and who also enjoy tennis on their free time, whatever it was. Like, I would be so niche that anybody who fits that ideal avatar would know me and would listen to me, because they're like, this guy is talking to me, literally. The only thing he doesn't know is my name. So your point on niching down is so true and so important as well, right? Because still nowadays, I see podcasts starting and be like, yeah, I'm going to talk about energy and marketing. And I'm like, fine, but start small, nail your niche, and then expand, right? Eventually. That's how you do it.
Yeah, man. So people can find you on the podcast. People can find you on what's the website?
GHApodcast.com. Oh, here we go. Little
Have you seen it, by the way? Look at this.
Yeah. This is the Apple thing. So I think you can do a whole bunch of woohoo.
Oh, look at you. Look at that.
Man, I did. What did you do? I didn't see this one. Oh my God, this is new. Rock and roll. So yeah, that's how people can find me. There is everything there. So we believe in abundance. We give the knowledge away for free. We sell the implementation. So we have stuff on there. YouTube, the ebook, you'll find everything. If you want to do it yourself, just go ahead or listen and join the amazing mastermind of Armando, because it's pretty similar and there is everything in there that you need to start a successful podcast as well.
Guillaume, I appreciate you being here, brother.
I appreciate you.
We're going to be in touch, obviously. Stick around. Don't go anywhere.
Let's do it.
I'm going to end the stream, but stick around. Don't leave.
Hope this was valuable. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Armando. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And this episode brought to you by Leduc Entertainment for all of your production needs, podcasts, organic social, customer journey mapping. We got you. Keep watching, keep listening, and we'll see y'all next time.